All right, guys, we're gonna go through this quiz pretty quick. Quiz 1, be part of the exam 1. I'm gonna open exam 1, leave it open all day on Friday. I understand a couple of people may not have electricity, etc. I may not, but I'll have it open there. Should be something you'll be able to take probably in, if you really know the material, you ought to be done in 25 minutes. Of course, these questions that you are seeing here on the quiz will absolutely be on that exam. And then we'll just add to it a little more detail and the stuff we covered on those other videos that I posted. I guess there was one lecture too that we had maybe that Friday right after the quiz that you'll need to add in or make sure you understand. Father of nutrition, we said, was Antoine Lavoisier. B, physiological fuel values, Atwater. We talked about those more when we got into our lipids. Robert Malthus right there noted that, the world population was going to be one of those that just kind of became exponential. And so once they started the multiplication, it went. But the food production was going to be arithmetic or linear. So food's going to be linear on that. And then, of course, world population is going to be an exponential. In your own words of science and nutrition, I think most every one of y'all got it to some extent. One or two were kind of vague, maybe lost a point or so. But it's a process of consuming and all the processes involved in getting that nutrient or getting that food stuff into the body and into the tissue where it really belongs. So nutrition, I think that same one will be on there pretty easy. Ingestion, what do we have after that? Once we ingest, we got to digest. Once we digest, we can absorb. Then we can go to whatever cells and do some metabolism. Constituents of the body, and probably the other lectures when we got into minerals and we got into proteins and all that, this all gets to be a little more detailed, but constituents of the body, and the first one's going to be skeletal, and we're talking calcium and phosphorus there, maybe magnesium to some extent. If you're talking about proteins or muscles slash organs, skin, etc., all of those are going to be proteins. Same token, other constituents of the body, if we're talking about blood, we're talking about cells. And of course, the one thing that holds that volume is going to be water. Palatability of the diet, a couple of ones that come to mind were fats, as we started talking about adding butter. Mayo, we were kind of laughing about. Same token, carbs. We started talking about adding honey, sugar, molasses, various components like that. Those are all things that are important, when we're talking about palatability of the diet. Now, temperature regulation, of course, water, through sweating or panting, etc. And then on top of that, we're looking at, let's see, CalPhos, up there should be minerals. Fats, carbs, boom, water, sweating, panting, etc. Other one too we talked about was minerals. And one of them was iodine, that's important in thyroid hormones. And another one or two there were our sodium and our potassium that were our electrolytes. And so that's basically the answers there. Priority maintenance. A lot of y'all missed it. Guys, we got to sit here and have respiration. So if we can't breathe, we're not going to live. Brain function. The body is going to pass everything to the side to emphasize protecting and taking care of that brain. On top of that, digestion. So we got to have digestion in the tract constantly, and of course circulation to get oxygen to tissues. So pretty simple on those. Some of you made them a little hard. Some of you made them perhaps didn't work on them quite as much as you needed. Father of medicine, a little different. Hippocrates. Equation. Some of y'all, I don't know how many times I've told you it's going to be there. C6H12O6 plus oxygen. that we breathe in is gonna yield CO2. So oxygen's gonna be breathed out as CO2 plus water plus ATP or energy. Primary role of carbohydrates, always energy. Pick one, explain. Some of you hit age and said it was pretty easy, and then you didn't know, you forgot that I said explain. If I say something's worth 4 points, then that means you need to do a little more detail on it. And for me, plane of nutrition's a 1. We said if we were less than our 2,000 calories, then we were gonna probably increase our efficiency of utilization. And so it's not just digestion, it's not just metabolism or absorption, it's all of them. And so utilization, guys, is every single one of them. So if we don't consume as much, or if we consume 5 to 6 200 calorie meals a day, then we're gonna use almost 100% of that. Okay, other than what we have for a body temp regulation, etc. So if we eat smaller meals more frequently, we're gonna be a lot more efficient. Most important, skeletal development, I thought that was kind of a gimme. We didn't go into a lot of detail, but first nutrient analysis, we said without water was gonna be corn. Back page for bonus, desire of the body to maintain normalcy. Metabolic pathway, we said energy or ATP. Go back to that metabolism chart. It was going to be TCA, citric acid cycle, or Krebs cycle is going to be our correct one. Hormone, I just threw that in as a bonus because we drew it up on there. It was on the metabolism chart that I shot the video on too. So those that looked at it did a good job, got a freebie point. Mineral important regulation, iodine. And that was thyroid hormones. Person wanting to burn fat, 65% for at least 20 minutes. I think if you put 65%, you said 30 minutes, I said okay. If you put 50 or 60%, didn't matter if you said for 14 hours. You may not have ever gotten to the point to be keto and start wearing fat down. Recommended daily allowance for people is similar to a diet, and British sailors, most of you got the full 2. Some that didn't, kind of danced around and said, obviously they needed vitamin C. Well, I gave you a point. If you said they had scurvy and it was going to protect them against scurvy, disintegration, breakdown of the gums, the collagen, all that, I gave you the full 2. So guys, there's your quiz right there in a nutshell. I'll load it up to YouTube, use it also to be part of your to study for your exam.